back for a second week. This is part 2 with Ahmed Al-Kadri. His special Not Special has since come out since last week. So find that on YouTube. Find him on all the things. His website is ahmedlovesbread.com, which we cover in the first part and at the end of this episode. But we just want to make sure you get all of the info because he was so generous with us and so lovely that give him some support, give him some views, throw out some, recommendations, throw him money. We love money. I don't have anything else. I don't know. If you want to arrange a marriage with him, I'm sure his mom would be open. So, do all those things. Okay, folks, thank you so much for listening. Let's get on with the show.
Whatever month. From April 6th to April 14th, that's the best time to send emails to comedy clubs to get booked.
Is that just because you've seen the metrics prove that, or there's an actual reason that's true?
No, there is an actual reason. It was a specific agent or a manager/agent. She told me about this, but she was like, usually that is the time because from the 1st through the 5th, that's when they're working on their month end or year end books. 6th through the 14th. They have time to look at their emails. And then the rest of the month is just them doing all the shows that they have to be doing.
Wow, what a great, thank you. That's so helpful. What else? Any other gold?
Yeah, I do.
This is so kind. You're sharing this with a bunch of comics that'll be listening to this. You're giving them tips. That's very kind.
Yeah, if you're a comedian listening to this, please message me. Honestly, I would love to. I love helping younger comedians, because when I was a younger comedian, I wish I had a person like me giving me help,
Yeah.
That's why, when I have openers or, especially if I meet a younger Arab comedian, especially if you're a female Arab comedian, I give them all the advice I could give them. It doesn't, even if you're not an Arab, I want to help you. I want to help you no matter what. Okay, here's another one. For best time to book shows, so, November through end of February, try to refrain yourself from booking shows outside where you have to fly because flights are usually expensive around that time and usually get canceled because of blizzards. So depending on certain areas of the country, it's November through end of February. It's hard to book some shows out. Again, unless you're a huge name, but these are just certain things. The best time to book shows would be for the fall, September through mid-November, or spring, March through May. And then summer, try to work a teacher schedule. Summer, June through August, try not to book shows where you fly because it's the summer. People are traveling. It's warm, so people would rather go out or do vacations. Maybe do some shows in the South because when a year ago, 2023, I did a tour in July. I did decent in Texas, but that's because I have a good pull in Texas.
Sure.
But I'm going to Europe again. Me and Sammy Obeid, we co-headline. We did August last year. We did Europe, and we're doing Europe again this year.
Good for you.
Because his stuff has been blowing up. Because his comedy, he's always talked about Palestine, and now the subject is blowing up.
Why? And also good pun. Good joke.
It's popping.
It's hopping over there. People are dying. It's a genocide.
Yeah, it's this hot. Yeah, so he talks about, he always talks about it. So now he's building. And then my special's coming out and my following's growing as my stand-up audience is growing. So we're co-headlining again in August, but that's the time in the summer where I'm it's like a tour, but it's also a vacation.
Hello.
We'll be there. I'll be there in Europe, July 13th through 30th. I'm excited, but
where in Europe? Because we have an international audience.
London, Manchester, Stockholm, Berlin, and Amsterdam. So stay tuned for those dates. We're still locking in all the venues, but
that's great.
Okay. So those are the times, the best time to tour in America, for that matter. Try to I raise prices to $25 a ticket because know your worth. I mean, in the beginning, when you first start touring, and if you charge $20 a ticket, that's okay. You're just starting out. Mm-hmm. But, I changed it to 25 because I'm I know my worth. and I know, and I'm releasing my hour. I'm still charging 25. Once I have, this new out. Once my new hour is like ready and it's good, I'm probably gonna charge like $30 a ticket or so. Oh yeah, make sure they don't take expenses after the cut. So like certain things, that's what I learned the hard way. I did a venue in New York and they took like it was originally a music venue. So they charged me stuff that I didn't really need. So there was like a $400 house nut fee.
What?
Yeah, and house nut it was like operations for the venue, but I was like, why? And I didn't realize it till I got the check. I was like, why is it $400? I should have negotiated it down. Like, or there are some others that I had to negotiate before I went in where some venues will take a percentage of your merch sales.
What?
Yeah.
That's your merch. You brought it in. What do you mean they take a percentage?
Yeah, and they will take a percentage. So
Are
you
they
have to
selling
sell
it
them.
for you, or are you barking for yourself at the end of that show?
Yeah. There was a few venues where I was literally selling my own merch,
And they took a cut. That makes
they
me
did it.
so
They
mad.
did it. They
did
didn't
not.
take my
Okay.
no.
Okay.
They didn't take my cut. But I'm saying like you could just look through their contract. And be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, can we take this off? Like this is my own. But this is things you learn.
You don't know,
Like
yeah.
I should have like earlier today. I should have said, can you do 70-40? And then like he would have negotiated down to 60-40. Instead, I got 55-45. But it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll charge $25 a ticket. Maybe there's some VIP seats where we could charge $35. I'll sell some merch after and make some extra money from there.
I think thank you for sharing all this, because I think for our audience, we get a lot of comics on who don't talk about the sort of nitty gritty part of it, because we get comics who are like, either they already have a manager or they don't want to talk about that part. And everything you're describing is the job of a manager, but no one is ever going to look out for you as hard as you're going to look out for you and your bottom line.
Exactly.
Like
I do not, I still technically don't have an agent or a manager.
Clearly you don't need one.
Yeah. Well, it was actually this year. So last month, this guy from Breakpoint, it's Breakpoint Agency. They're non-exclusive. So I was on their roster for a while, but they never got me anything. So I just did everything myself. But then apparently their comedy department after the pandemic was decimated. So this guy named Miles came back. He got the comedy department back up, and he's been working hard on it. And I took him out for dinner last night. He's a good guy. And he got me some gigs here and there in Texas in May.
Mm-hmm.
And he only asked for a 10% cut. So
that's very sweet.
After my payout. Right.
Wow.
And he doesn't take, and he's all for like the comedy first, and I would like to have an agent for some places because he could get me certain he could get me in
certain clubs.
Certain things.
Yeah.
Because it is tough. Like there's times where I wish I was fortunate. We all the comedian every comedian has wished for like, oh, one day a big headliner sees me do stand up, and then he will like I hear stories like that's how my friend Nick Simmons opens for Brian Callen. Like
Wow.
I still remember like it was like some show. I wasn't there, but Nick told me the next day. And Nick Simmons was like, oh, Brian Callen, can you make sure I perform right before Brian Callen goes up? Producer's like, yeah, sure, I got you. So Nick got up, had a great set. Ryan saw him. And then next thing you know, like, bada bing, bada boom, he opens for him. Or my friend Josh Potter used to work for Tom Segura, open for Tom Segura. Like, there's certain big comedians or friends of mine who opens for these big comedians. My friend Chase O'Donnell opens for Christina Pizitsky. Like,
Chase is the best. She's very, very sweet.
Oh, I love Chase. She's
Yeah.
one of my favorite. She's the one that connected me with Catherine.
Oh, okay. And Chase was a
Yeah.
guest on this show through Catherine. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So like, and I, obviously as a younger comedian, I'm sure the comedians who are listening to this, it's like, yeah, we wish that, but which sucks. And the fact of the matter is we're not those guys. And
Yeah.
it's when you accept it and you go, you know what? I'm just not that guy. I'm not, maybe, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad comedian. It's just, and now in hindsight, I'm glad. Like now the times where I've opened for a headliner, it's just my friend. So like, let's say like there was a comedy club, stand up. I think it was Stand Up Live in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Or it was one of those. But my friend Sahib Singh, great comic, he was headlining there. So I literally would text him like, "Hey, bro, can I open for you their feature?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. I don't have a feature." I was like, "Thank you so much." I drive down to Phoenix,
Wow.
had a great set, was able to sell some merch because he lets me. And then the bookers, they thought I was hilarious. I went up to them, shook their hand. I would love to headline there one day. Boom, they gave me their email. And that's how you can get into the door of some of these comedy clubs.
But what you're describing is also, I mean, you said earlier, like, know your worth, but also, comedy is littered with very insecure, like very self-deprecating,
Yeah.
sad people. And to be
Yeah.
what you're describing is like, these are confidence moves of like, then you go up to this person, you shake this hand, you get this email. And I'm like, I'm thinking of the number of micers that I'm like, oh no, he would never do that. Nope, she would never do that. Like, because it's hard.
It is okay. Listen, it doesn't mean I'm like this delusional because now they're gonna think like I'm this all networking off. No,
You
I
don't come across that
still
way. That's not how you're coming across.
no. Like I will say this. Like I I this is confidence that I built myself because I was just like I'm a lot like other comics where I'm like even now where I'm like, oh, I'm not funny, I'm not good enough. I
Yeah.
can't believe I'm releasing this own hour that I shot myself. What are you stupid? Like all this, it's all in your head.
Yeah, it is.
But at the same time, now I'm not an accountant. Like I gotta make some money. You know?
This is urgent.
Like
We have a need.
to a certain extent, you just be like, all right, I gotta stop beating myself up because I gotta pay some bills, dude. Like
I want to
you
eat.
gotta,
Yeah.
and that's why I work. And you do all this self work where you work out, you meditate, you
Yeah.
journal, you. But when you get on stage and you make again, this is a job. Like when I get on stage. I need to make sure that these people who paid money to come see me, I have to make sure they got to have a good show,
That's
you
it.
know?
That's what you're here to do.
And other than that super religious woman that heard me said penis, I haven't had people walked out
Well,
of
and
my show. I mean, I hope, you know what I mean? Like I like it's like Bill Burr always says that. Like Bill Burr, I learned that from listening to his podcast, where he's like, just make sure. He's like, these are people who got a babysitter who took time out of their
Yeah.
day to come to a comedy show. Like you got to make sure you give it your all.
Yeah, and I mean, you referenced earlier being in therapy, which I think the number every comic, every human, but every comic should be like. You mentioned meditation, you mentioned working out. The old trope of comedians being like, coke addicted, they sleep all day, that they drink all night, that still exists. But the comedy that people are now expecting, they want to be poured into from a full cup, and you don't have a full cup if you're not doing all of the things you mentioned. And I think the authenticity of comedy, like someone like a Nate Bargatze who jokes about, his health and his life and whatever. I use him as an example because he's been grinding for a very long time. And in his most recent special, he was like, hey, I had a health scare and that's why I look this way. I had to drop weight. I had to stop drinking as much. Like he's very, very authentic in that way. And I think that trope of, yeah, you can burn your body to the ground and like run this business. Okay, someone will discover you. It's just not true anymore. And so, yeah, go ahead.
There is this weird romanticized like lifestyle. Like, I mean, I have some comedian friends that I started out with when I first moved here, like in the open mic scene, who I don't see much because they kind of glorified this whole like getting fucked up and going to open mics. Like, I don't even want to say the names of some of these mics, but it's like that's what it is, where they just get drunk and then they become these edge lords of stand up, and they think.
It's so I could scream. Yes, the edgelords who are drunk. You're like, what do you shut up? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what do you because it's not a business to them. Where I'm like, what do you want? Like,
What do you want?
And it sucks because some of them were genuinely funny to me. Like,
Yeah.
I think they have talent, but there was no business side or no
Yeah.
like. What's the best way to like no like
Foreshadowing for the future or like forward.
or no sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Where it's like, do you want to make this your job, or do you just
Want to go to
or
Mike's?
you just like the community of I meet up some other people, I get on stage, like they like having friends in a weird way.
Sure. Sure, that's real.
Remember, stand-up comedy is a weird thing because we don't have an HR department. Okay, we have We have OnlyFans girls who just waltz over to comedy, or canceled celebrities that waltz over to comedy. Like, we don't have an HR department.
Yeah.
And this is something, dude. Oh my God, Kate. I could go on and
Me
on
too.
about like the time. I'm so grasping at the fact that now you have like legit like like
I've been to
OnlyFans girls who
yes.
or ex porn or current porn stars who just move over, waltz over to stand up, and because they have a following, and this is the business. This
Ugh.
is the business we live, like we
Yeah,
chose, like.
that's right.
But one thing comforting that I've learned, or that I've noticed from just doing stand up for a while, or just being in the business, I'm like, oh, they don't last long.
No, because it's hard.
I mean, yeah, this is hard.
Yeah.
Dude, Viners, Instagram influencers,
Yeah.
and Viners and YouTubers that waltz over to stand up as well, they don't last long.
No.
The amount of times, like, I got passed at the Improv about a year ago.
Yay,
Thank you,
congrats.
thank
That's
you. Yeah,
huge.
I got passed at the Improv about a year ago, and you're doing spots at the lab, and you'll have some random kid that I was like, I don't, doesn't even look like and I'm like, who is this guy? And they go, oh, like he's just some YouTuber. But this is a business. He brings in the people, they throw him up first. He'll do like 5, like obviously probably slotted for 8, does 5, and then and then the real comics go up.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, that's why as a stand-up comedians now, we used to just be stand-ups, and then we became stand-ups and actors, and then we became stand-up actors and podcasters, and then stand-up acting, podcasting, and now content creating, and now now we're just juggling
All the things. And where do
juggling
you
them.
put your time? Because like, when are you writing? When do you get after the craft? Like, we've chosen it. We could do anything else. We choose this. We choose this. We choose this.
Yeah. There is something beautiful about, writing a joke and getting on stage and trying it out, and that hits. So, I mean, if you work hard enough, it will work out. I mean,
I agree with that statement. I agree with that.
yeah, it will. But if you really want this bad, again, like the comedians that I loved, like I don't, some of them either quit or they're still at the same place. And I'm like, I'm not judging them, but I'm like, if I was at the same place that they are, I was like, what, how, like career wise, and the only difference between me and the other guys, because they were all just as funny as I was. The only difference was I got on stage more. I posted when I could. I failed. I put myself out there. I emailed. The amount of work I put in. Yeah, like I'm telling you, I have a mega email list of, like, I have a club list. I have an email list. Like, I'll tell you literally right now. And I just did this in Minneapolis. I'm about to do this again. So because of NACA, I booked some college gigs. March 4th. Yes, March 4th, March 6th, and March 7th. I'm booked for colleges. So now I'm thinking, you know what? Let me book a show for March 5th, or book a theater and book my own show. And I did that in Minneapolis. Maybe I could just book my own. Maybe I book a theater, and then I create an Eventbrite. So I'll put, like, so for Minneapolis, I paid $350. I deposited in a theater, and I put up an Eventbrite, and I put out, hey guys, I'm headlining in Minneapolis. We sold enough tickets, and I made some money out of that. I sold it for $25, and I made about 50 tickets. 50 times 25, so that's $1,250 minus the $350 deposit. So I made $900 profit, plus the merch sales and all that stuff. But
That's hustle.
I could have just made money through the college gigs.
That's right.
But it's like you keep hustling. You figure it out. Okay,
Yeah.
can I do this? Okay, what if I put this up? What if I, there's always money to be made.
That's right. But that's right.
But you put yourself out there. There's times where this didn't work. When I first started touring, I remember June of 2022, me and Dan Donahue, we were co-headlining in San Francisco. We rented a theater out. We didn't sell as many tickets as we want. I think we only charged like 20, maybe 50. We should have charged more.
Yep. People value what costs more. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we didn't charge as much, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was this theater that didn't have great parking, stuff like that. But
You learn.
I think we made like $100, $150 profit, and well, we split 300,
Sure,
$400,
sure.
so we made like $200 each,
Yeah.
and on top of the travel expenses, so we probably lost money. But that just happens.
Yeah.
And this is all what I'm telling you is all from learning experience.
It's so kind of you to share all of it. Also, the reason that you sold tickets on March 5th is because it's my birthday and it's a lucky day. So, like, that's the only reason you sold tickets. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. I know that was a really meaty appetizer section, folks, but all the new comics that are listening are like, holy shit, that was pure gold. So, thank you so much for sharing all of that. Now, we have to get into your jobs. So buckle
Yeah,
up,
let's do
folks.
it.
We've been talking for an hour. Thank you for your time. We're going to keep it moving. We hope you enjoyed your apps. Let's move on to the entrees after a quick break. Okay, we are back, and now it's time for the entrees. Okay, this is the section that everybody loves because it's always the same questions. And feel free to think, count, do the math, whatever. But we always start with the same one. What was your first job ever where the government was taking taxes out of your income?
Where I was getting government tax, whatever. I worked at a shoe store. I worked at this place called oh my God, what is it called? Oh, hold on. K and D. Oh my God, I'm blanking out. DK. Yeah, DK
DK.
Foot and Casual. Yeah.
Woof, foot
It was-
and
yeah, yeah.
casual. Woof.
Yeah,
Okay.
DK Foot and Casual, and it was a shoe store. They also had clothing store, and it was urban. It was a black clothing store.
Yeah. I mean, that name.
yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
We know.
But it was on First Street in South Garland, and I started working there when I was like 16, 17 years old.
Were you pushed out of were your parents like, as soon as you can work, you're going to work?
Not really. I just, my parents aren't like, hey, we'll give you an allowance. I was like, I just wanted to work and
Money.
make some money.
Yeah. They'll find you a wife, but they're not going to give you an allowance. That's good. They're good.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So that was your first job. What were you, just like a retail sales associate? What was your title there?
Just a salesman, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, like, you're an employee there. You're
Yeah.
a retail worker. I sold shoes, I cleaned up, I worked the cash register sometimes. Yeah.
Were you ever scared working in retail?
We had one robbery before. We had one robbery like while I was like helping a customer. Apparently two teenagers, they like stole some shoes out of the sales section because we had like the shoe boxes there.
Yeah. But it wasn't
So
like
they ran
an
out.
armed robbery. It was just like they stole.
No.
They just stole.
They just stole it. There was points where there were moments where the manager had he went to the back, grabbed the gun, and came back just to keep it in a safe, just in case like something were to pop off. But for the most part, the times there was a robbery, I wasn't there.
Lucky.
So
Yeah, I was, because being that young and being in Texas, I feel like retail in Texas is just being in Texas.
it wasn't
is a very,
at the mall. I'll tell you that much. It was not at the mall, so it was
Lucky you.
crazy. But
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it. It was nice. I had a fun. I mean, it was a good learning experience. I learned how to be a salesman.
Yeah, okay. And that's a skill that you're using right now.
Yeah.
How long did you work there?
Almost a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Okay. So you were doing that whilst you were in high school. How were you playing
Yeah.
sports in high school?
Yeah, I played. Well, senior year, I didn't play. I went to a small Islamic school, so we played recreational
Okay. So
soccer.
rec league soccer. Okay. So you weren't competing with necessarily an after school sports schedule to also with work.
No.
Okay.
No, I just went to work. Yeah.
Good for you. Okay. And then how many customer service jobs have you had total, would you say? And feel free to do the math.
Okay, so I had that, and then in college, so in college I worked at a Telesign. No, not Telesign. Wow, why did I say that? What was it? X Connect. Excel Technologies. That's what it was.
What I
It was
love
a
is that
third
you're so
party-
successful in your comedy career right now that you literally can't remember a customer. Like, I'm so jealous. I can't wait to not be able to remember customer service jobs. Like, good for you. Okay, it was Excel. Go ahead.
Excel Technologies. Yeah, I worked as um, me and some other college kids. We had to work the chat service. So if you went on the AT&T website and you were talking to a chat representative, it was me on the other. Yeah, so it was like in this little flex space next across the street from the college that we went to, UTD. And it was a lot of Greek like people. Like I was an SAE. Some people were Kappa Sig. Some others tried out. It's like just a couple Greek like people. We were all working at Excel Technologies. We were all getting paid a whopping $10 an hour.
Well, over minimum wage, so that's not
Yeah,
nothing.
DK Foot and Casual was getting paid $7.25 an hour.
That's even that was over minimum wage at the time because that only recently became minimum wage. I feel. Oh no, that was in
Yeah,
2009. Oh, who cares? Good for you.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then I'm trying to think other customer service. I mean, as a side gig, I did Postmates driving.
That's brutal. I've done that too.
But when you say customer service, like working with customers on hand or just dealing with the shit that customers had that were upset about?
Usually, so the question is sort of more overarching to include basically, like I consider being a lawyer a version of customer service, being a doctor a version of customer service. So like
Yeah, that
really
makes
customer
sense.
interfacing at all.
Oh, okay. So we had that. All my accounting jobs, I never really dealt with customers. That was a cool thing about being an accountant. I never had to deal with customers. I dealt with, um, you know, like vendors with accounts payables, but I never had to deal with like a specific customer. Like, hey, you need to pay. I never had that to deal with that, fortunately.
Yeah,
But
you're lucky.
that when I was worked, and then now like as I mentioned before, I'm a bike tour guide. So oh yeah, I quit my job. I quit accounting March 4th, 2022. Became full-time stand-up, and then when I needed a side hustle because you'll always have some side hustles here and there. I work as a bike tour guide, and that I love. I really do. It's because you get a workout and you show people around the city of LA. It's pretty nice and it's super chill. You clock in, you meet your tour, and you're dealing with tourists. You know, it's rare that you'll meet like a grumpy tourist, and you get tips at the end. Like yesterday, I did the Beverly Hills bike tour. It was like a 2.5 bike ride. I had 9 people. I got like $85 worth in cash tips. And then on top of that, you get paid $90 to do that tour. So it's a quick $170 for that day.
That's $85 an hour. That's awesome. Like
Yeah. But I mean, that's with the tips. I mean, sometimes you kind of get screwed with tips. Not screwed, but but it's easier to get tips with a bike tour guiding gig.
Wow. And then are you guys in the bike lane, like wearing the helmets, doing the whole thing?
Yeah.
So do they have like radios in their ear? Like how are they hearing you?
Yeah, I'm doing the signal. Like I make a right and then we pull over and then I'm like, okay, so over here is yada yada yada.
Oh, that's cool. What's a Beverly Hills fact that is weird that I wouldn't know without going on your tour?
Actually, yeah, Beverly Hills has a lot of oil, and a lot of the and a lot of the cities like City Hall or like certain museums or certain buildings that is owned by the city of Beverly Hills. It's a cover up, but they have like some oil that's still seeping under. Yeah, so they'll like fill up some barrels here and there. But,
What? I did not. That I'm so glad I asked. That's a fun random.
Have you been to the Doheny Mansion, Greystone Mansion?
Uh-uh.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it,
It's
but I've
on
never.
Doheny. Yeah, it's on Doheny. It was completed in 1928, but yeah, it was built by Edward Doheny. But they shoot a lot of movies over there. It's where There Will Be Blood.
Well,
Ghostbusters.
you should look up the Doheny family because there's a reason they donated everything, and that the There Will Be Blood was involved because there's some darkness to that family.
Yeah, no, I even that's what I was gonna say. I even talk about it. It was from the teapot scandal. Basically, they were bribing government officials to get certain bids over the land permits so they could dig more oil, shit like that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
that's why there was a murder.
That
happened in that. Yeah, that happened over there. So I talk about that. What else in Beverly Hills?
I love that. So would you have to memorize facts in all the various parts of Los Angeles that you're taking these tours? That's a shitload of memorizing.
Yeah, but then it becomes like second nature to you. And you're always learning new facts about LA.
That's kind of fun. Also, because you're not
It's
from
fun.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's a morning gig, so I'll do like a
Oh,
morning.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a morning gig, and you finish the tour, and you still have time to do whatever you want to do.
You can't, I would assume, as part of your three quarters faith and also just being as active as you are, I imagine you don't drink. There's no way.
So, okay, I used to drink, but I quit. I haven't drank since October 1st. It's weird.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I never drank. And then I drank in college when I joined a
Of
fraternity.
course.
Of course, Greek
Yeah.
life. Yeah. So I drank. And then but alcohol was never a big thing to me. I like smoking weed.
You're in LA. Yeah.
But yeah, October 1st, I haven't been drinking. I smoked weed a handful of times. Um, it's mainly just a health thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's,
I don't see myself drinking in the near future. Who knows?
who knows?
There might be a special
Yeah.
occasion, but I never really liked alcohol. And then okay, didn't drink after college. Kind of like stopped drinking as much. And then the only times I drank in LA, like when I first moved to LA, I was sober for the first 2 years.
Good for you.
I was like, there was no need for me to drink. And then I started drinking again because I was dating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and dude, I was like I was going on dates with some damn near alcoholics. Fucking crazy. All they did was drink. Their whole personality was drinking. It was crazy.
That's rough.
And I love it. I see red flags on a girl, I turn into
And
a
you're like,
bull.
here we go.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous. Yeah, it was so funny because when you said it's a morning gig, I'm like, you're not closing down clubs till 2 a.m. and then getting up and bike riding if you're hungover. Like that's just not a thing.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not doing that.
Yeah. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
And that I like staying healthy, and it's a reason for me to not drink
Yeah.
and go hard. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna go home and sleep. I mean, I'm 30 now. I'm not really like trying to go to parties and I fortunately, because I loved stand up so much,
Yeah.
I never wasted my 20s with the whole alcohol clubbing culture, stuff like that.
So what was your favorite job of all of the customer service jobs?
Bike tour guide. I mean,
Yeah.
I still do it. I still love it so
Okay.
much. I'll be the biggest comedian ever, and I'll still like
Do it.
some tour guides when I can. Yeah.
Do you consider comedy customer service?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, I do.
I do too.
Because, dude, literally, like, I mean, I'm even stopping myself to a point where I finish a show and there's a part of me that wants to shake every fucking audience member's hand and be like, did you enjoy the show? Did you
Mm-hmm.
But then you can't, because just wait. People come up to you if they liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's subjective. It's stand up.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're trying to turn it, but you try to make sure you do your job and you have good customer service. Like,
I've said that on.
you want to take pictures,
Yes.
you take pictures. If you do stand up, you sell your merch. You do your goddamn.
Yeah, you
job.
have to glad hand, and that's customers. Like I've argued this a lot, and a lot of people don't agree with me. You're very smart, obviously, because you agree with me. Okay, least favorite of all of those jobs that you listed. It's got to be the shoe place.
I'd say the chat service.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah, chat service. Okay. Did they train you on what to say if people were like, my computer?
Yeah, they train you.
Okay.
I can respond. It's just people are just fucking stupid.
Yeah, they are. Was there ever an incident in any of these jobs where they asked to talk to your manager about you?
Oh, the XL for sure. The XL.
Why?
The chats represent because they wanted deals on AT&T that I would not give them. They think it was all the time, and I was like, fine, sure.
Sure, talk to my
Can't
boss.
help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest thing you've been asked to do whilst on the clock at any of these jobs?
The weirdest thing I've been asked to do during a job. Yeah, I remember like. Wasn't an accounting job? It was something, but I remember like getting someone's groceries, like my manager's grocery. Not even like a grocery, like he was like, hey, are you stopping? Can you give me, this is weird, but can you give me like a Tide laundry detergent or whatever? I was like, okay.
That is odd. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the last straw? Was there ever a job where you were like, flip a table, get me out of here, I quit, burn it down? Or
Literally, I mean, with my every accounting job, especially with Telesign, like the manager I was working for was such a huge see you next Tuesday. So like, there were so many moments where I was like, I want to just yell at her and just be like,
Mm,
"Fuck you." Or
yeah.
my first accounting job at Capital Analytics, there were so many moments where I just want to like go down, find this other account, and just beat the crap out of it. Like so many times, but whatever.
Okay.
I just hated these passive aggressive emails and
Ugh,
passive aggressive messages.
I can't deal with that either. Have you, how many, that doesn't work for you because you've never bartended, right? You didn't mention it. So I
No,
said, okay,
no.
this will be interesting. Do you tip
Oh yeah, I especially because I get tips with the bike touring job. I tip at least 20%.
20%? Okay.
At
Is,
least
okay. Is
Uber, Lyft, everybody.
you're tipping
Yeah.
everybody?
Even I will say it's gone. Even the times where people like they tap and then they switch over the iPad and they
Yeah.
ask for the tipping.
Yeah.
I've been saying no tip because I'm like, bitch, you are not doing anything. Like
Yeah.
the people, you know what I mean, when they're
Yes.
selling stuff and they add for a tip even though you don't need a tip. There are moments where I would like get like the smallest percentage. I'll tip $1 or something, but
Okay.
like yeah,
Is there ever a moment when a server is a certain way and you're like, if the server does this, no tip?
no, no, because they're trying to do their job. I mean, fortunately, I'm pretty nice. If they're too mean, or but if they're not as nice as I want them, like if they're not, if I don't like their vibe, I'll give them like I'll still give them a tip. But if they're too bad, I won't tip at all. I mean, there are rare occurrences
Yeah.
where, they fucked up. It's their fault, and I'm like, I'm not tipping you. Like this is
This is a mess. Okay.
yeah.
And have you ever been fired from a customer service job?
Yeah. I was. This is a random ass job. I quit Excel Technologies, and for a little few months, I was working as a little PE coach for kids on the spectrum. It was such a weird job, and I did not belong there, and it was completely my fault. I went to a rave and lost my phone, and then like I couldn't make it. I was like, oh, hey guys, I can't come into work, and then they're like, yeah, you're fired. Like, what the fuck?
You're like, okay, bye.
I didn't really, yeah. I was upset, but then I was like, wait, I don't fucking care.
Okay. And last question in this section, who's the worst customer you've ever had to deal with, or an archetype of who the worst customer would be?
An archetype would be just a person that just is trying to bend the rules, even though like we don't do it for anybody, and they keep asking for deals, and they're trying to bend the rules, thinking like the world revolves around them, and then they don't take accountabilities for their own wrongdoings. Those are the type of customers, like where even you as an employee, including your manager, is like, get the f out.
Yeah,
Like, get
yeah.
out. You are a bad person. Yeah.
No one's ever said that before. Bend the rules person. Yeah, that's a great answer. Okay. We're going to move on to the good stuff. We hope you saved room for dessert. Last section, then you can get to your friend. Okay. What's the nicest thing a customer has done for you whilst you were working?
And the nicest thing while I was working, someone has done for me. Um, Nicest thing someone has done for me while I was working. Yeah, one time I was working this. My boss Maria. I was working as an accountant for this like insurance company or some shit. And shows how much I cared about that job. But like Maria came and she would give me like she gave me like some gifts, and she goes, "Oh, I know you like this. I saw you reading this book called You Are a Badass, so I got you this button that you like from that said book." And it was very nice and very thoughtful of her.
That is really thoughtful when people pay attention like
Yeah,
that.
and when I quit that job to move to LA, they got me a book, and it was like all these like words of affirmation.
Come
From people like, we're gonna
on.
miss you. Yeah, so it was very nice.
All right, Maria. Shout out to Maria. What's the best tip you've ever gotten?
I was giving a bike tour job guide, and the Truesdale Estates, the rich people.
Yeah.
I was apparently giving a tour to the people who live there,
And they give
and
you
yeah, they gave me a $300 tip. It was
okay.
insane.
Good for you. So
Yeah.
you made a lot of $150 extra dollars an hour. What's the best lesson you've personally learned from working in customer service?
Patience.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's such a generic, but it's like patience, and also like you. I mean, this is with comedy as well, and like me dealing with negative comments or people commenting bullshit on your page, or just people. A lot of the times has nothing to do with you.
It never does.
It really, and it's hard to make it, especially as stand-ups, we take everything personally. But like, it really doesn't have anything to do with you.
It's them. It's their stuff.
Like, yeah, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, they don't have full
and you
cups.
just let it go. And when
Yeah,
you let it go, you feel a lot better, and you move on, and you maybe go, maybe I could have handled this situation better.
but it's
But
done.
that's the best way to put it, where it really does has nothing to do with you. That's the best lesson that I learned from it.
Okay, and last question in this section. What's one piece of advice you would give to customers who interact with customer service workers?
This sounds so lame, but smile, try to make them laugh, I mean, this is what I do when I deal with a customer service, where I'm like, like, not, I'm not saying flirting, but like, like
It's
when you
kind.
do like a funny,
Yeah.
when you do like a funny flirt, or like a funny compliment, or like sometimes, like if I get a male waiter, like, because it usually gives them come where I go, hang on. Why is my waiter so super handsome? I didn't know. Why are y'all super handsome here? And then they always laugh. They go, nah, come on, man. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, bro, you too handsome to be my waiter. Like, come on. Like,
That helps.
oh, something like that, or like a girl. If it's a waitress, I'm like, oh, you're so I try to give them a compliment, try to
Hmm.
like, and it's not a schmooze, just to like be that, try to stand out.
Sure. Sure.
Try to go, even though if it's a dad joke or whatever, do something, but just try to just know that your intentions is to be the best customer ever, or just to make them feel better.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, how can people get your new album or your special? Like, what's your IG,
Yeah.
TikTok? Tell us.
My Instagram or all platform is Ahmed Loves Bread, AHMED Loves Bread, AHMED Loves Bread. And my special comes out on the 24th. So when does this episode come out?
I can put you on next week, so you'll be out next Monday.
That works. Perfect. So it comes out a week from now, or like a
Yeah.
couple days from now. So February 24th on YouTube. Check it out. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for the special. And if you live in LA, I'm screening it at the Hollywood Improv. Rita, God bless her soul, she was like, we gotta have it screening. So we're screening it on Monday, February 26th, and I'm super stoked for that.
That's great. How do people get tickets for the screening?
It's online. It's only $10. It's literally just for the sake of, the renting the room, stuff like that. So
That's great. Well, folks, we're going to drop your text now. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to help us out here at Service from Hell, we'd love to have you subscribe, rate, and or review the show wherever you listen. It will help reach, Kate, it will help us reach more people that need to be schooled in the art of being kind, and will be catharsis for those of us still working in the industry. If you want to get in touch with us here at Service from Hell directly, send us your receipts to servicefromhellpodcast@gmail.com. We always love hearing from y'all. Remember, if you can't afford to tip, you can't afford to go out. So don't be garbage and be good to people. It's easier that way. Thanks for being on and giving us so much of your time. I really appreciate it. This was lovely.
of course,
Well
I had
done.
a lot of fun. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for having me. I'll see you around the scene.
Yeah, you will. Thank you so much for being on. We'll see you folks next week. Good night.